With E3 coming to a close, we finally got Devil May Cry 5. After all this rumors and speculations that we've been hearing about, we finally get to see Nero and Dante at the very least return to the classic style of Devil May Cry. That also goes for its gameplay as well, returning back to similar elements of 3 and 4. And that's what I'm most excited about, is its gameplay. However, there is 5 things that I would like to talk about in this video that weren't necessarily shown off in the gameplay trailer, that I would love to see make an appearance in Devil May Cry 5. Now keep in mind, this list isn't like a top 5 list from 5 to 1. These are just 5 things that I want to see, and at the same time I'm a bit optimistic, I guess. These things could easily not be in the game. We don't know for certain until we see more footage. But with that being said, let's get right into it. So one thing I want in Devil May Cry 5 is a training mode, for sure. Since there's no way I'm going to be able to play this game on my PC, I would love for it to include a training mode for especially console players, for those who can't use mods to give enemies infinite health and to be able to practice more advanced stuff on their own. For me personally, I play Devil May Cry primarily for its gameplay, so adding a training mode would be a huge benefit towards me, since I'm going to be purchasing this game on PlayStation 4. If it can be something like Nier Automata, where like after you beat the game you get this debug mode, I wouldn't mind that at all either. Essentially, if you don't know, in Nier Automata, when you beat the game, you get this debug mode that acts very similar to Devil May Cry 4's modded debug mode, or at least in the vanilla version of DMC4, where you can basically checkbox what you want activated, like disable timer in Bloody Palace, infinite health for enemies, that sort of thing. And in Nier Automata, when you activate the debug mode, you're not allowed to save the game until you deactivate it. And you can activate debug mode anywhere you want in the story mode, which I would love to see in DMC5. I would love to be able to go to a different level, activate debug mode, and proceed to do some sick combo or whatever it may be. Since Devil May Cry 5's, or Devil May Cry in general's combos are very much aesthetic, it's really nice to be able to have a cool background to go with it as well, and to just do the combo over and over again in training mode or in Bloody Palace would kind of make it less aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So training mode at the very least. Debug mode would be really cool to see as well, but some form of way to be able to give me infinite health towards my enemies that I want to practice on would be great. The next thing on my list that I would like to see in DMC5 is Lady and Trish making an appearance in the game. We don't get anything pertaining to these characters in the trailers that we see, and I think they're too classic of characters to not include them in the game, or at the very least give us some backstory about what they're doing. But if they make an appearance, that's all that I would need. They don't have to be playable. As long as they make some sort of appearance and they have some sort of witty chat with Dante, I'm satisfied. The next thing on my list is a bit more obvious, and something that I think will very much be in the game, and something I'm sure you guys want to see as well, and that's the inclusion of Bloody Palace. I highly doubt that it won't be in the game. It's been in the game since DMC2, since Itsuno took the role of being director for DMC. It's primarily what I put my hours into in Devil May Cry 4, was all on Bloody Palace. If you're not going to give me a training mode, at least give me a survival mode to be able to play around with enemies. That I think is for sure going to be in the game. It's too iconic, or at least too iconic for the Devil May Cry games to not include a Bloody Palace mode or some form of a survival mode in the game. So Bloody Palace, pretty sure it's going to be in the game, but we haven't seen anything yet, and I would like to see some confirmation in the future. The next thing on my list is new game modes, or at the very least the return of game modes. Game modes like Dante Must Die mode, Son of Sparta mode, which I think will also make a very, or will have a good chance of making an appearance in the game. They've been in it since like the first game, so I doubt that they're not going to include it. It's also, again, an iconic part of Devil May Cry, is being able to play on a wide range of difficulties. But I would love to see new ones too, like maybe Gods Must Die mode, which was what we saw in the reboot version. I would love to see that sort of thing. Devil May Cry 4 is its Dante Must Die mode is pretty easy to me, at least in comparison to 3's and 1's Dante Must Die mode, so I would really love to see an insane challenge for DMC5, or at the very least the return of these modes. The last thing that I want on my list, and again, this is something that will probably most likely make an appearance. I was mentioning before about how optimistic I am with this list, but it seems like this list is going to come true for most of the time. The last thing I want to say is customizable controls. Again, we've had this since, I believe, well, I mean, 3 wasn't too great with customizable controls, 4 was pretty good, but 5, please, customizable controls. I don't think that this is going to be an issue. I doubt that we're not going to get this sort of thing, considering it's Itsuno directing the game, but it's definitely something I need. Everyone needs, especially for players who want to take the game to the next level, like myself. So being able to customize controls to best suit what we want to do with the characters, I think is something that it's a must for those who really want to get into its gameplay, and something I feel is definitely going to be included, again, considering it's Itsuno directing the game. Some honorable mentions that I would like to say, and these are again things that we'll probably see. I mentioned jump canceling, but we obviously have seen jump canceling now with the Itsuno interview. More playable characters. I would love to see other characters outside of Nero, and we have some sort of confirmation that Dante and Virgil, well, if it is Virgil, would be playable in the games as well. And a game without Dante being playable is a game that I would criticize, because Dante, as I said before, the main meat and cheese of the Devil May Cry games. He's one of the biggest characters in the series, so a game without Dante playable is a game worth criticizing to me. And then devil triggers. We haven't seen any new devil triggers as of yet, or what Nero's new devil trigger might be. I would love to see something new, like an actual devil looking creature that can spawn out of him, rather than, you know, the devil trigger that we see in 4. But since he has his devil arm removed, or his devil bringer, I'm sorry, removed off his arm, who knows if he'll even have a devil trigger in the story mode. I have no idea how it's going to be arranged, but I mean, devil triggers are also another iconic part of Devil May Cry, so character not having a devil trigger is, again, like not having Dante as a playable character. I mean, it has to go hand in hand together. So yeah, a relatively short video, I hope. That's at least the goal. But those are 5 things I want for sure in the game. I hope that we see some of these things make an appearance. I'm pretty confident that some of these things, like customizable controls, Bloody Palace, Lady and Trish maybe, but training mode is a bit on the fence. That's the one thing that I'm debating on whether or not Itsuno will include it, because he's never done so before. At least with the other things I mentioned, we've seen it in previous games, so it's very much more likely to be seen in DMC5 as well. But training mode, please, I beg you, please, please, please give me a training mode, please. Please, Itsuno. You're doing so good for us. Please give us a training mode. Please, please, please. But anyway, that's all I wanted to bring up. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys want to see in DMC5 that you haven't seen yet in the trailers? And I'm going to be off. Take care, guys, and I will see you guys next time.